But let's talk about this very, very serious development.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. So first of all, here's the story. It's from AZ Family. Governor Ducey says he won't accept election results until all lawsuits are settled. They say, during a press conference, was the first time we heard from Governor Doug Ducey since the election. Several reporters asked him about the debunked conspiracy theories in Arizona, like Sharpiegate. And if he accepts the election results in Arizona, Ducey made it pretty clear he will not accept the presidential race election results until after all of the court filings are resolved and until every vote is counted. On the one hand, the governor said, we can trust our elections here in Arizona. But minutes later, he said, there are questions and those questions should be answered. These are legal claims that are being challenged in court. Once those are adjudicated and the process plays out, I will accept the results of the election. Ducey would not acknowledge President-elect Joe Biden as the winner in Arizona, but rather is holding out after several lawsuits were filed by the Trump campaign and Arizona GOP, some which have already been dropped. Those challenges will play out in court, and then I will respect the results of the election. But at the same time the governor spoke, party chairs were inside the Maricopa County Election Center certifying the accuracy of the election equipment, which matched up 100% for the third audit. But Arizona Republican Party Chair Kelly Ward came outside to hold her own press conference calling for a full hand audit of the election. Who has access to the USB or the drives that are used in the machines? Who programmed the machines? All of these are very important as to what's going on in the electoral process. We need to know these answers, Ward said. Maricopa County Democratic Chair Stephen Slagaki said Ward is putting on a show and is frustrated anybody is still trying to prove any issues with the election process. He said, or here's a quote, I'm assuming it's from him. Here I am at the elections department right now, testing the machines, testing the equipment. They matched up exactly 100%. And then literally Kelly Ward goes from this room and then goes outside and trashes the process that we just certified as being accurate. We have verified the vote. We have verified the machines. There was no fraud here, no discrepancies. I'm going to stop right there and just say, in Georgia, there's several things that kind of were crazy. 3 counties where they uncovered votes that were not tabulated. More importantly, several sworn affidavits from both Republican and Democrat alike, where they said some of these ballots were pristine, no creases, and it looked like the vote for Joe Biden was like machine printed, like a perfect just stamp right into the dot for Joe Biden. So it's weird when the Republicans are saying we want a hand audit of these votes, because you would see then if you're looking through the votes, you're like, that's printed on a printer. You would notice right away. So for them to be like, no, don't worry, the machines say they're good, we're done, to me, it's kind of strange.
Can't they do tests to find out if it was, for instance, ink from a printer or toner from a laser printer, let's say?
You'd have to do a hand audit.
Yeah.
I guess. But none, like the Democrats are resisting this every step of the way.
Yeah, of course.
You'd think they'd be like, okay, fine, if we do this, will you accept the results? But instead they're like, no. We don't have to investigate.
So this was really interesting to me. This is actually a question that I asked on Twitter, because you remember that GOP guy who won? They did a recount or something. They came up with like 1,000 extra ballots. Why wouldn't Democrats then want recounts of all of this stuff?
That's why, because the race flipped for the Republicans.
Yeah,
so
that's why.
Yeah, did you hear about what happened with this guy in Michigan? He was
As of today?
No, this was like last week or whatever. This guy's a Republican. And they announced he lost or whatever. The vote count came in. And he said, I wasn't going to call for a recount or anything. And I just accepted the results. And then he got a phone call saying, oops, there was a glitch. You actually won. And the Republican actually ended up winning. And so this led to more scrutiny. And then we saw a Republican noticed that 6,000 of Trump's votes were registered for Biden, and then said it's a computer glitch. They said, no, it's human error. It's human error. So we have all of this widespread voter irregularity stuff going on, and it's definitive at this point. The media is going to say no evidence of widespread voter fraud. That's like a very, very specific thing and hard to prove. Widespread and fraud. Proving fraud is hard. We can prove that people's votes aren't being counted, that they're finding a bunch of missing ballots, and that it's widespread. I think we've done that at this point.
I would think that the Americans would want to verify the American election at this point, regardless of political party.
Are you saying the Democrats aren't Americans?
I'm wondering if they have America's best interests in mind, if they want to, steamroll an election.
That's a great question.
Well, there was a meme going around of they were saying like, hey, guys, Trump is trying to steal the election. Quick, we have to do hand recounts.
Yeah.
Frame it as we've got to stop Trump.
Right.
And I think if people were led to believe that that's the only way to verify that Trump lost,
They'd go for it.
I think we should.
That is the only way for them to verify Trump lost. And I wonder why then they're saying no to it. Mm-hmm. Just accept the results as they are.
Because they believe they already won. So let's run the clock.
Here's the thing. Trump is potentially going to win. Now you have Arizona. So I don't know to what extent the governor can block the electoral certification. I have no idea. Maybe he can't because the state legislators that decide ultimately where the electors go. But this does throw AZ into some kind of question. May not actually be that impactful. But we also have Michigan, where these two county canvasser or these two board canvassers said we rescind our votes. We don't want to certify. So if Trump does get close to winning through a contingent election, right now is the only opportunity for Democrats to prove Trump lost by getting a full hand recount in all of these swing states, and they're resisting it. So
if I was on their side and I thought Trump was Satan, I suppose I would do the same thing. I mean, they are sure that he is the next Hitler.
Right.
They have to stop him by any means necessary, and this is probably the most humane way they can do it.
And we are sure that Joe Biden is some kind of lurking monster in the shadows who eats children.
Indeed he is.
I think he's being taken advantage of. I think my comics are one thing, but me as a person, I just think he had ambitions since he was younger, and his party is pushing him, and he probably it's like a car that's, I don't mean to sound cruel. He's just kind of rolling down the hill with the momentum, but if
he's a car in neutral.
I hate to say it that way, but it's true. I feel like if you just let him say what he was going to say without coaching, without whatever uppers he was on during the debates, for instance, I don't feel like he wouldn't have nearly as much momentum as if people were kind of propping him up and pushing him.
Truin and Nana Shaba de pressure.
Yes.
That's the famous quote.
Yes, that.
And Vaticath care.
The magic words.
He seemed surprised when he won the primary.
You got a little...
Betsy climbing.
While he was in the...
I like that my favorite comic from you probably is, I have it hanging in my office. It's the one where Joe Biden said 200 million people are going to die.
with the electricity.
Yeah, but Joe Biden literally said, it is estimated by the time I finish this talk, 200 million people will die.
Poor guy.
And then the comic you made, and then it shows his eyes glowing, and he's like, and that time is now. And then he fires lightning bolts, and the crowd is getting vaporized.
I love it. It's the best.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's my favorite too.
It's
you have to wonder about Joe Biden's accidental statements when he says we made the largest most inclusive voter fraud organization in history.
My goodness.
And then when he also so if people think that if people think that he really meant it and it was like a Freudian slip or whatever, or he's losing his filter.
Yeah.
Okay, so people think that, right? There are people who think he accidentally admitted it because in his old age, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean when he said, by the time I finish this talk, 200 million people will die, he really meant it and he slipped up?
Yes.
Joe Biden is planning on just
foreshadowing.
Some mass genocide.
He's just losing his mind.
Maybe a little.
He's been told about the Great Reset.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
He was foreshadowing it.
Yeah, they're like, all these people are going to die in the pandemic, and then he just said it, and they're like, he just said it. You know what it really is? I'm sure there's this grand global conspiracy, and they're telling Joe Biden all of their plans and using him as their
He won't remember. Just tell him.
No. He says it. He just blurts it out, and then behind the scenes, they're all laughing. George Soros and Hillary Clinton, they're high-fiving, and they're like, he just said it, and people just let him say it, and they're all laughing. He just admitted to voter fraud, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
That's how sure of themselves they are. And what's Betsy doing?
Betsy, come on.
That is so funny.
Go on, Betsy. Good job.
It's kind of
going to cause trouble.
It's like the comic that George drew where Joe is eating that little girl and everyone is just cheering. The emperor really has no clothes and they're just cheering away. What's going on?
200 million.
This picture that's behind George right now.
I don't think we can see it.
Yeah, I don't think we can see it. Yeah. It's a woman is handing a little girl to Joe Biden while everyone's cheering, and then Joe Biden's mouth opens up like a giant monster about to eat the little girl who's freaking out. But there's everyone giving thumbs up and cheering.
Yeah.
And then after he eats it, he looks at the crowd and he gives a thumbs up. And it actually is a very, very powerful political statement, because when Joe Biden said that he believes that what did he say? Vaticath care is a human right. They cheer. They're like, yeah. When he says "True Nana Shabbat of pressure," they cheer, and I'm like, what are they cheering for?
It's like those
What
live
is this?
applause sign going on.
Yes.
We don't know what he's saying. Just applaud.
But I don't even. The scary thing is, there's no applause sign. They're just mindless NPCs going, "Yay!" Joe Biden's like, "I'm friggin' blah blah blah," and they're like, "Yes, that's what I wanted this whole time." They're pounding on the table. Donald Trump comes out and he's like, I'm going to make more jobs, lower unemployment, secure our borders. Hitler. Joe Biden, turning on a shot of pressure. That's exactly what I was wanting to hear. That's what I'll vote for that.
It's kind of like a weird gladiator match where they just want to cheer for their champion to beat the other guy. That's all it is. It's political gladiators.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately, they're like 70 years old.
Yeah, gosh.
I think our leaders should be chosen by blood sports is what I'm trying to say.
I think so, yeah.
So maybe like
Right.
a hereditary patriarchal trial. What is it called? Patriarchal hereditary combat.
Trial by combat?
No, not trial.
Choose
But
champions.
no, like, it was really funny that Black Panther was considered this very progressive, social justice movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's literally about a king who's chosen based on patriarchal heredity, who has to fight another man, and women aren't allowed to even try.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
It's an interesting, if we want to go into the subconscious of what they're really trying to say with these stories, if that's even possible with corporate storytelling, it's a weird, to unpack that is, what are they trying to say subconsciously? What do they even not
They're
know?
racist.
They don't know what they're even saying, maybe.
They're not saying anything. It's like the funny thing about Black Panther was that the movie was basically what did Sargon? I think Sargon said this. It was Adolf Hitler versus Richard Spencer, because like T'Challa, was that his name? He's all like, it's our country, our borders. We can't let anybody in. He even says in the movie, like, if they come in here, they'll bring their problems with them. Mm-hmm. And so it was like ethno-nationalist country hoarding its wealth. But then the bad guy was like, we should give weapons to everyone of our race and like take over the world. So it's like, who is the good guy in that movie? I guess at the end, T'Challa goes to one of the wealthiest nations in the world and goes to one of the richest cities in California and gives people stuff. I just thought that was really hilarious. They decided to open up their country to help people. So he goes to, to Oakland? It's like, I get Oakland's got problems, but like, it's still the Bay Area. You know what I mean? Like, it's still pretty wealthy.
That's right.
Anyway, we were talking about voting, and I was going to talk about this evidence, and then we got sidetracked.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Can I interject something here that just came up on my phone?
Oh.
So it looks like Georgia has finished their hand audit, and they have confirmed it for Biden. And the other thing I have on my phone is that the AP has declared Joe Biden the winner in Georgia after the state election office said that the hand tally ballots.
Well, maybe it's all over, and Donald Trump's going to not be president.
I don't know.
There you go.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
As of
why not?
2016.
As of 2016.
Yeah.
And then he was president.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know. I kind of feel like we're going to have two presidents.
You know what, though? I wonder if you get the same feeling. Do you think Trump voters would be as angry as the left if they lost?
No.
I feel like...
And there's been surveys about that.
Yeah, because we're just like, oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Most people. But I also think that the diehard Trump supporters, especially the people over at, like, say, like the Donald.win, are much more... I don't know what the right word is. Fervent.
Yeah.
They're like, Joe Biden is going to destroy this country. He's gonna enforce the lockdowns. Fauci is saying normalcy won't return for a year.
Yeah.
And what's happening is all the big box stores and the big corporations are getting all this money. Their stock value is skyrocketing, and small mom and pop shops are being destroyed. And Joe Biden says, I'll lock down if they say to. And then Osterholm, who's the guy who says to, the advisor to Biden, says, oh, we're going to lock the whole country down. And then Fauci goes, no. We're not going to lock the whole country down, but there will be lockdowns, and we won't return to normal until quarter 2 or quarter 3. That's going to wipe out small business.
Yeah.
It's going to destroy the economy of this country and leave us very, very worse off, to put it mildly.
It's
and
funny.
Trump won't do that. Trump would do the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, none of us can know the future, but it's interesting to think like, all right, so even in my area where there's a lot of chain businesses, they're closing most of their stores too.
Yeah.
They just, I don't know, the money's not coming in. People don't want to work there anymore. Who knows what kind of, is everything going to be delivery nowadays? Like obviously,
Amazon.
Yeah.
So
benefit.
buy your Amazon stock, I
drone.
guess.
Sure.
Yep.
And,
Definitely.
God knows I've been using them too, but like I need to go outside for my own health. I go shopping just to go out shopping. I put on the stupid mask.
So you're trying to kill grandma, is what you're saying.
Maybe.
It's too bad that humans are not built for being in pods. And I feel like depending on how conspiratorial I want to be, I can feel Alex Jones's energy in the seat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It's his tinfoil.
Maybe this is like a test, and they're trying to see how far you can push humans and society, and like see, can you keep them in their houses and see what happens. I see the tinfoil right there.
Yeah, you should.
But we know they're talking about the Great Reset. We know that they've been advocating for it all year or longer than this. The book, I think, was written in 1996 by Klaus Schwab. And it was like earlier this year, they were like, we need a Great Reset. Now they're basically saying we got to lock everything down, even though it's not proven to do anything at all. Like we locked down, nothing happened. Everything got worse, right? Okay, so lockdowns clearly don't make sense. And it seems like it just fits with the Great Reset plans. It sounds like they've said COVID-19 is their opportunity to do this. They're telling us literally what they're doing. Yeah. COVID-19 popped up and they said, all right, let's do it. Let's use this as a pretext for a lockdown to destroy wealth and ownership. Because one of the goals of the Great Reset is that people won't own anything. What's going to end up happening is there's going to be like a 45-year-old dude who owned his own, hardware shop. He goes out of business completely. Now he owns nothing. Then they're going to make you dependent upon the government with these stimulus packages. And then all of that money is going to go to Amazon. And we're going to have like 3 major corporations that supply us with our goods.
Yeah. Well, whether or not that was intentional, that certainly seems to be what's going to happen if we keep going down this track. Some people want to stop it. Some people who have read a few books say, hey, maybe we shouldn't go down this direction. This is where it could go. Maybe we should kind of slow the train down if we can. Maybe, I don't know, hedge our bets. That's why I like the idea of states all having their own rules. We shouldn't do this whole federal. I don't like Joe Biden's plan of across the whole country, we all have to wear masks. Every state, every even county has different rules depending on population density.
Well, therein lies the big problem for a Great Reset. Republicans saying, no, we won't lock down, and Democrats saying, yes, there's no uniformity. How can you have a Great Reset when there's a constitution and states getting involved? You can't.
Yeah.
Like a mediocre reset.
Mediocre.
Yeah, not actually great
the so-so reset.
Yeah.
I'm
a fan of states' rights. I don't like the idea of the federal government swinging its what's the word I'm looking
for? Mandatory mandates.
So here's what I'm thinking.
Giant mandatory mandate.
Here's my current thought process. All right, here you go. I think it was just after the election, I said, like that night, media's going to call it for Biden. Trump is going to overturn it in the courts. Then they're going to say Trump stole the election. So like a very simple prediction that just fits with like a lot of what's going on. And I don't think it was that spectacular, but all these lefties are like, dude, Tim's so dumb. He thinks Trump's going to win. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I think it's possible. And there's a Vox and Atlantic and NBC have all written about Trump's, path. Now they're starting to get scared and the propaganda is getting crazy. Reuters is like Trump's latest scheme to steal the win from Joe Biden. And I'm like, but Joe Biden didn't win. Like we're not a popular vote country. So like this idea that if the electoral vote votes for Trump, Trump didn't win. It's like, no, he literally did. That's how the Constitution works. And if he finds a legal path to do it, but now they're writing stuff like crazy. So here's what I'm worried about right now. They already called it for Joe Biden like crazy. Twitter's putting labels everywhere. Joe Biden is the president-elect. He's not, literally not until he's certified, until the electoral votes are cast. Usually calling someone president-elect is just like, it's
like a placeholder.
Like an honorary title or something?
No, it's like a tradition. We just do it because the other person conceded, and so we're like, sure, fine, it's you, we get it.
Give them some briefings, hook them up with some
But that's
info.
not the constitutional process. The constitutional process is on the 14th, they'll make their vote. So for Biden and the media to be like claiming this over and over again and refusing to back down is quite literally them refusing to accept the process for the election.
It's a conspiracy. All those people.
It could be a standalone complex.
But they're all conspiring to make him the president-elect, to make him seem like the president-elect.
It could be a standalone complex.
But it's a bunch of people coming together.
Who said they came together?
Well, they're all saying the same thing.
A standalone complex. Right.
What's the difference?
A standalone complex is when people do something.
I see.
They all do a similar thing.
But they're not like behind the scenes being like, hey, let's do this together.
So they're all saying Joe Biden won because they want Joe Biden to win. And it makes it look like a concerted effort when it's just a bunch of people doing the same thing at the same time. Mm-hmm. So that's more likely. But regardless, what do you think is going to happen when you have for weeks, Joe Biden won, AP says he won. And Trump's like, we're going to court. The governor of Arizona is like, we're not going to accept this until we get the legal resolution. That's in the Constitution. Trump is going through this in the constitutional process. Whether he wins or not is not the point. The media is lying, refusing to accept the process of our government. By coming out and saying Joe Biden is the president-elect, they are literally undermining the Constitution and our legal process. That's crazy. And they keep pumping out more and more propaganda. So I think what scares me right now, I don't know what the probability of this happens. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's a lottery ticket's chance. Maybe it's lightning striking 3 times while a shark jumps in the air. Maybe Donald Trump overturns a few states. They get frozen. Joe Biden doesn't have 270 electoral votes. And then the Electoral College can't deliver, so it goes to House delegation. The delegations are Republican for the most part. They're majority Republican, so they vote for Trump. Then Trump comes out and says, I've won. Then all these Democrats say, no, you didn't. Joe Biden did. He says, look at the court, look at the Electoral College, look at the delegations, look at the Supreme Court. Then they're going to say Trump is illegitimate. He didn't win, and we know it. And Trump's going to say, I am legitimate. I won, and everyone knows it. And then the Trump supporters are going to say Trump is right, and the anti-Trump people are going to say Trump is stealing the election. And then what do you think happens?
Well, I don't even think they need to do that. I think people have been winding themselves up for long enough already that if you were to tell Biden supporters that he didn't actually win, or Antifa, they would throw a fit. They would freak out.
But I think in order for there to actually, so I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the worst case scenario would be, and it's been, a lot of people were saying we're going to get the scenario where both declare they won. And we're already there now. Trump is saying, I won the election, we'll prove it. But it's not official for either. So Biden can say, I'm the president-elect, and people roll their eyes. Trump can say, I've won, and the left laughs. But what happens when Trump is certified, but the media declares Biden, and all these people don't know? I was talking to a friend earlier, and I said, it looks like Trump's plans are working to some degree. Like this challenge in Michigan that might block up the certification. I'm not saying he's going to win. And she said, what is this? I'm not seeing any of this. I'm not seeing any of this news. So you get people who can't see any of this happening because all they get fed is CNN, and CNN says it's over. So they believe it. You're going to end up with Trump's going to be like, I won. And they're going to be like, but he didn't win. The news said it was Biden. And they're not going to actually look at the Electoral College results. They're not going to actually look at the Supreme Court. They're going to have no idea because CNN's going to be like, he didn't win. Nope, he's lying.
It seems really irresponsible for Trump and Biden both to be saying that they won when the constitutionally neither of them have yet. Like,
absolutely.
Are they idiots? Are they both stupid?
Well, Biden. I think Trump is doing it strategically.
But it's a lie. He's the president and he's lying.
I think Trump is doing it because Biden declared himself the victor, so Trump responded.
He lied. I'm going to lie too.
It's
just such an irresponsible. It's just a terrible thing for someone to do.
Joe Biden, they declared Joe Biden the winner. Then Joe Biden said he won, and so Trump had to push back.
But why didn't he just say he didn't win where it's under constitutional review?
Yep.
So am I crazy though? Because Trump is president until January 20th period.
Not according to Facebook. Sorry, you're wrong.
According to
Facebook says you're wrong.
All right, that's fine then.
He is president, but he didn't win the election yet.
His character is such is that he doesn't like being undermined. So if someone raises the volume to 10, he has to raise it to 11. And there is a certain point where once you're past 11, you can't shout. It's like an internet fighting match. If someone's like, yo, fight me, bro. And the other guy's like, hey, man, I'm going to fight you. All right, where are you living? Where's your house? Let's fight. You can only fight so hard online until it comes to fisticuffs.
Until a guy shows up at your house.
Right. So in a way, what we're seeing between the two president candidates is an online shouting match of come at me, bro.
Yeah.
And it's not going to end in a fist fight with them, but it's going to be their supporters having fist fights as we saw in the street.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.